Do we have Mr. Kim with us, Robert Kim?
Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Robert, please, until Russell join us, you are filling for Russell.
Okay.
Okay, we're live now. So, the June 9th, 2020 regular meeting of the Hawthorne City Council is called to order with all members present. I'm going to ask Council Member Mayor Pro Tem Alex Montero to lead us in the invocation today, please. And we will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by City Manager Arnie Shodber.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's bow your head. Thank you for this beautiful day and thank you for this meeting. And we ask, dear Lord, to protect all of us, to make sure that our community continue to be safe and across this nation, that we ask for peace, for forgiveness, for love, and we make this meeting go smoothly with all our elected officials making smart decisions for our community. And we bless these days and we bless the greatest God that we, all of us, share in the great heaven. Amen.
Amen.
Please stand up, put your right hand on your heart, and turn to our glorious flag. Repeat after me. I pledge
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty,
liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
They start, meetings already started.
Stop the video.
We'd like to welcome all of you to our city council meeting. People are watching live through our cable and people are watching through their computers. So welcome to everyone that's out there and all future city council meeting watchers for the future, okay? So we'd like to start with the first presentation, the presentation, which is City Manager Arnie Shodber, which is gonna talk to us about the reopening of our city's parks and recreation programs, the phased opening, much anticipated. Seems like we're opening up very, very rapidly. And so our city manager is going to let us know what we're doing with our parks and rec program. Mr. City Manager. Mr. City Manager, if you can unmute yourself. Unmute.
Yes. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor and Honorable City Council, I would like to ask our Parks and Recreations Director, Mr. Juan Norris, to come for the presentation. He has a PowerPoint presentation to explain phased out opening of parks in details. Mr. Norris, please.
Hello, Tess. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Perfect. Good evening, Mayor Pro Temp, City Council. As Arnie mentioned, my name is Vaughn Norris. I'm the Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Hawthorne. So what I want to do today is share some of the modifications that we made to our department during COVID-19 and future services that we intend to provide moving forward. The City of Hawthorne Parks Department has worked closely with the Los Angeles County and other agencies to establish a reopening plan. Our reopening plan is based on Los Angeles Health Department and CDC recommendations. At the end of the presentation, I will have an open dialect for Q&A if needed. If we can move to the first slide, please, or second slide. Change in services due to COVID-19. Senior Grab and Go program. This program is a program that was based from the department's desire to stay connected with seniors in Hawthorne and the Safer at Home initiative during COVID-19. Packs snack bags and distribute from the senior center parking lot Monday through Thursday for walk-ups and drive-throughs. Currently, we're serving over 260 snacks Monday through Thursday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We are currently in our 11th week. Our senior snack delivery program has been operating for 8 weeks. We started this program when we noticed Hawthorne residents during week 3 weren't able to actually drive to Memorial Center to pick up their snacks. So we came up with a great idea to create a delivery program. This delivery program, we're serving over 75 seniors a day. We're utilizing our maintenance staff to make deliveries, and we're just getting fantastic reviews regarding the delivery, the prompt service, and the safe distancing that my staff is practicing. Another option we have for seniors that might be internet savvy, they're able to order their groceries online, and we will pick it up for them if needed. On Fridays, we do a senior wellness check. So all our seniors that we have on our program, we attempt to call them on Fridays just to see how they're doing, if they receive their lunches or snacks, and if they need any additional services. So that's something we do every Friday. Even the alternating Fridays that we're closed, I have staff that actually makes those calls to seniors. And then the newest program that we're going to offer is our senior virtual exercise classes. Before COVID-19, we had a few classes that were doing very well. Our Tai Chi, our yoga, line dancing. So we're going to bring those back through a virtual service working with cable TV. Next slide, please. Additional changes in services. We have another great program for youth, 1 to 18. In response of healthy meals during COVID-19, we decided to reach out to our lunch provider during the summer to ask them if they can assist us with providing breakfast and lunches for Hawthorne residents or even surrounding cities. And it just took off from day one. We started this program April 6th, serving 200 meals a day. It has increased to over 350 meals a day, Monday through Thursday. Those operation times are Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And this service will continue till August 28th, 2020. Community outreach, when we see there's a need for masks, if there's a need for diapers or any other type of services that we can offer, we're willing to help with those service providers that are helping us give out those items. So we've done several events since COVID-19, and we will continue to help and reach out to the community. Additional service that we're doing daily safety checks at our facilities due to the closure of some of the facilities. I have staff that make regular trips, caution taping areas, making sure items aren't being used per the county, and that's something that we're doing every day. Next slide, please. Repurposing of department staff during COVID-19. I have to say I'm very proud of my staff. We went from doing our normal job to one day doing things that we were never prepared for, but with direction and instructions, they picked up the ball and they're doing a great job. We're doing preparation of daily delivery routes where we divide the city into 4 quads, and we have daily route sheets that go to our maintenance individuals to make those deliveries. One thing we're going to do different post COVID-19, we're going to utilize our park rangers, which is provided from the South Bay Workforce Enforcement Board, and we're going to have them do soft enforcement of the new regulations that we're going to have in place, i.e. social distancing, masks, occupancy of certain amenities that we have in the parks. So the park rangers will help us with that. Food deliveries, I mentioned that before, that we use our staff to make deliveries to residents in Hawthorne, seniors. Costco, right behind Memorial Center, has been gracious enough to let us in at 6:30 every Monday to make our purchases for the programs that we have. So staff arrive one day with a list, and they shop during close hours to get those meals and snacks ready for seniors. Daily preparation of snacks and meals, and assisting registering members of the community for outreach programs. Next slide, please. Upcoming recreational programming during COVID-19. In normal summers, we would offer a sports camp that would have 2 sessions, at A and B, AM, PM. And we would offer these activities that I have listed here. So something we're going to do different, since we're not in that safe at this point, we're going to go virtual. And what our virtual classes, we're going to offer these at no cost to the community, and we're going to utilize volunteers from the City of Hawthorne that will be no cost to the City of Hawthorne. We're going to start production of these virtual videos next week. We're going to offer basketball, baseball, futsal, racquetball, volleyball, fitness, and gardening. And these are all the amenities that we have in Hawthorne, and we're just going to showcase those at no cost to the community. Each virtual class will be 1 week. Each video should be roughly 5 to 10 minutes, and it'll just kind of soft touch the basis of those activities. Next slide, please. We have a great partnership with LA Dodgers Foundation, and this is additional recreation program that we're going to do with the Dodgers. They're going to have a virtual camp since we weren't able to produce or actually have that.
We lost your voice.
Vaughn, we can't hear you.
Hey, Chief, can you hear us? Chief Ishii? Uh-oh. No answers.
We will, we'll have him come back. We'll stop and then we'll have him come back.
Thank you.
Can you unshare his screen? Oh, there you go. All right, so has he come back? Are we good to move on?
Let's move on for now.
And then we'll go back. And I believe the second presentation has been postponed to the next meeting. Mr. Clerk, can you please read your guidelines for oral communications?
Yes, I can. During oral communications, speakers shall have 3 minutes to state their business. The Brown Act prohibits the City Council from providing a detailed response or acting upon any items not contained on the agenda. The governing bodies as a body shall have the discretion at the close of oral communications to refer your remarks to the city manager for study, investigation, report, and or recommendation.
Do you have any communications from the public?
Yes,
You're the only forum in which they can communicate with us. So what do you got?
Yeah, so I have 3 emails. So,
Okay.
and I'll read them in the order that I received them. The first one's a little lengthy, so I'll try to keep it within 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Yes. So the first one was received on the morning of June 9th, and it is from Jesse Ramirez. So on behalf of Jesse Ramirez and Ana Cuevas, Hawthorne residents, we write in support of Assembly Bill 2275 Nazarene, which would simplify the process to use existing state-owned armories as shelters for people experiencing homelessness. According to the 2019 Greater Los Angeles Homeless Count, there were nearly 59,000 people experiencing homelessness in LA County, 75% of whom were in sheltered living in tents, vehicles, or makeshift shelters. Statewide, there were about 108,000 Californians that are unsheltered. State armories are a tool as part of a larger comprehensive solution to homelessness. While housing represents the ultimate solution to homelessness, all avenues to sheltering vulnerable residents should be explored, including these armories. These sites are appropriately zoned, owned by a public agency, and able to safely shelter many people at one time. Yet multiple barriers limit the use of armories, several of which can be rectified through the state legislation. One of these barriers is unclear and burdensome security requirements, which require both uniformed security to be present, as well as nightly visits from local law enforcement. This barrier has resulted in certain armory sites left closed during the winter shelter season, leaving vulnerable Californians unable to access critical shelter beds during inclement weather. Moreover, with COVID-19 amplifying the health risks that people experiencing homelessness face, jurisdictions need all tools at their disposal to bring our neighbors indoors. With many shelters reconfiguring their sites to comply with public health guidelines on social distancing, critical shelter beds are being lost. As such, we cannot miss opportunities to utilize these publicly owned sites. AB 2275 would ensure that ambiguity in the state statute does not prevent local jurisdictions from having the option to use an armory in future winter shelter seasons. By clarifying the requirements of coordinating with local law enforcement to inform and request visits, public safety would be maintained while also removing red tape that has the potential to leave our most vulnerable neighbors exposed to the elements. Due to COVID-19, ordinances and public health measures, finding and securing safe and available housing for unsheltered individuals in Hawthorne, California has been extremely difficult. Too often, individuals are constantly negotiating to meet their needs for shelter, which compromises their overall health and well-being. Although Project Room Key has come into effect in LA County, there is still a staggered wait period for admission and entrance, which further exacerbates a person's health status. Although providers and consumers are grateful to have these temporary shelters, there lies the underlying problem. This temporary status shelters are expected to become dormant post-COVID-19. Further, I have personally heard that there have been several instances where individuals can only go to the closest shelter in Service Planning Area 8 in Long Beach, which is 20 miles away. As Hawthorne residents, we are committed to enforce the good neighbor spirit, which is why we adamantly support AB 2275 to support current Hawthorne individuals and those we are yet to encounter with housing insecurities. And another intersection we need to acknowledge and act on our racial inequalities, because at the cornerstone of this legislation, this bill will protect and save African Americans who are more than 10 times likely to experience homelessness in LA County. This bill will not end racial inequalities, but it sure is a good start to further support the most vulnerable, our Black brothers and sisters. Black Lives Matter. We appreciate the legislators' leadership to protect our most vulnerable residents, and we hope Hawthorne City Council will support AB 2275 as well. Just to reiterate, this was from Jesse Ramirez and Anna Cuevas. The second comment we received was from Ronald Gomez. It reads, "Hi, Mr. City Clerk. I hope you're well and thanks for returning my call today. I just wanted to make a quick comment regarding parking enforcement during street sweeping days. I think the council should waive parking citation fees received this week for a violation of the street sweeping signs, because in my humble opinion, it was not clear enough and residents did not receive sufficient notice that the city would restart enforcement of the street sweeping ordinances. Residents should get at least one more week to comply with the ordinances and should not be required to pay citations received this week. Thanks for all you do. And also thanks to Councilmember Awad for supporting the extension of the eviction moratorium and for bringing free COVID-19 testing to Hawthorne." Again, that was from Ronald Gomez. And the last comment is from a gentleman named Barry. He did not provide a last name. "My name is Barry. I'm a 32-year-old resident of Hawthorne. My question is, when is the pool at the high school going to open? Also regarding parking enforcement during street sweeping hours. The law states that there is no parking 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Mondays. Residents on my street, 4500 block of 137th Street, begin putting their cars back at 11:40. Last Monday, the parking enforcement officer drove by at that time and did nothing. By 11:45 a.m., the street is full again. Why is the law not enforced until noon?" And again, that was by a resident named Barry, and that was the end of the public comments.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who wishes to address the bodies? We don't have an audience, so oral communications is closed. So ordered. Mr. Clerk, can we have your consent calendar, please?
Yes, you may. Mr. Mayor, I have 5 items on my consent calendar for your approval. Item 7, approval of City Council minutes for the regular meetings of April 28th, 2020, May 12th, 2020, and May 26th, 2020. And for the special meetings of January 14th, 2020, January 16th, 2020, February 20th, 2020, February 27th, 2020, March 15th, 2020, May 6th, 2020, May 12th, 2020, and May 14th, 2020. Our office will note that Councilmember Awad will abstain from voting on the February 27th, 2020 special meeting minutes and Councilmember Taeda will abstain from voting on the January 16, 2020 special meeting due to absences. Item 8, approval of waiver of full readings of resolutions and ordinances on tonight's agenda. Item 9, City Treasurer requests approval of the warrants. Item 11, Resolution number 8183, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hawthorne, California, establishing the appropriations limit for the fiscal year 2020-2021, pursuant to Article, let's go with 13B of the California Constitution. Item 12, Resolution number 8203, resolution of the City Council of the City of Hawthorne, California, submitting to the voters at the November 3rd, 2020 general municipal election an ordinance setting term limits for the offices of mayor and of member of the City Council for adoption.
I make a motion.
Second.
Who seconds?
Second.
You can take Ms. Valentine.
Ms. Valentine, seconds?
Yes. Please vote. Please vote. Please call for the roll call, sir.
Okay, Councilmember Awad,
Yes.
Councilmember Montero,
Yes.
Councilmember Taeda,
Yes.
Councilmember Valentine,
Yes.
Mayor Vargas.
Yes.
The vote reflects mayor and city council voting yes. That concludes my consent calendar, Mr. Mayor.
So that was item up to 12, right? So public hearing.
Okay. Now is the time and place for a public hearing to adopt resolution number 8201, approving the annual engineer's report, confirming the assessment diagram and assessment amounts, and authorizing the levy and collection of assessments for improvements of the street lighting system, Landscaping and Street Lighting Act of 1972 for the fiscal year 2020-2021. Public Works Department declaration publication filed. No written communications were received.
Okay. Is there anyone else anybody who would like to speak on this? If not, I'll declare the hearing closed to order. Can you please read resolution number 8201?
Yes, I can. Resolution number 8201, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hawthorne, California, approving the annual engineer's report, confirming the assessment diagram and assessment amounts, and authorizing the levy and collection of assessments for improving the street lighting system, Landscaping and Street Lighting Act of 1972 for the fiscal year 2020-2021 for adoption.
I move.
Second.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded by Councilwoman Olivia Valentine.
Okay.
Please vote. Roll call, please.
All right, Councilmember Awad,
Yes.
Councilmember Taeda,
Yes.
Councilmember Montero,
Yes.
Councilmember Valentine,
Yes.
and Mayor Vargas.
Yes.
The vote reflects mayor and council members voting yes.
Item 15, please.
Now is the time and place for a public hearing to adopt resolution number 8201, confirming assessments for fiscal year 2020-21 weed and waste abatement and authorizing the collection thereof. Public Works Department's declaration publication filed. No written communications were received.
Is there anybody who would like to speak on this? Any communications, Mr. City Clerk?
No communications.
Okay, so the oral communications is closed, so ordered. Can you please read resolution number 8202?
Yes, I can. Resolution number 8202, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hawthorne, California, confirming assessments for weed and waste abatement and authorizing the collection thereof for adoption.
I make a motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
All right.
Please vote. Roll call, please.
Okay. Councilmember Awad,
Yes.
Councilmember Montero,
Yes.
Councilmember Taeda,
Yes.
Councilmember Valentine,
Yes.
Mayor Vargas.
Yes.
All right. The vote reflects mayor and council members voting yes.
Ordinance item number 17.
Number 2202, second reading. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Hawthorne, California, enacting Chapter 2.3 to Title 2, Administration, Civil Service, and Personnel of the Hawthorne Municipal Code, enacting the Hawthorne Transparency, Disclosure, and Accountability Reform Act for adoption.
Okay,
I move.
Second.
been moved and seconded. Montero, Taeda.
All right, perfect.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Awad,
Yes.
Councilmember Montero,
Yes.
Councilmember Taeda,
Yes.
Councilmember Valentine,
Yes.
and Mayor Vargas.
Yes.
The vote reflects mayor and council members voting yes.
we're on 18, right? 18.
Yes, we are. Okay. Ordinance number 2203, second reading. An ordinance of the City of Hawthorne adopting regulations related to the evictions and stating the effective date and duration of the ordinance and enacting Chapter 9.71A to Title 9, Public Peace, Morals, and Welfare of Division 6, Consumer Protection of the Hawthorne Municipal Code for adoption.
I make a motion.
Second.
I think Councilwoman Olivia Valentine still got it on this one.
All right.
Okay, go ahead. Roll call.
Okay. Councilmember Awad,
Yes.
Councilmember Montero,
Yes.
Councilmember Taeda,
Yes. Yes.
Member Valentine,
Yes.
Mayor Vargas.
Yes.
The vote reflects mayor and council members voting yes.
Okay, so on the next items, the city attorney will recuse himself and step off of the virtual dais for item number 23. But I'm going to make a motion for, he can stay while I make a motion.
Through the chair, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, sir.
I was just informed that Mr. Norris is available. We can continue with presentation if you don't mind. We go back to Parks reopening presentation at this point before I get back to my consent calendar.
Would you prefer that?
Yes, please, if we can move forward with presentation.
Okay.
Because he's available right now.
All right, so let's move on. Do I have is everybody in concurrence with that or anybody opposed to that?
No.
Okay, so there's no opposition. So yes, let's go ahead.
Thank you.
Mr. Vaughn Norris?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay,
thank you.
sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened. But continuing with the slide, additional recreational programming during COVID-19. As I mentioned earlier, not sure if you heard that or not, that we have a great partnership with the Dodgers that's going on 3 years. This would have been the third year. And let me just touch on that a little bit, that with the Dodger partnership, we're able to offer baseball as a subsidy program that we charge parents $15 for the league, includes 2 sets of uniforms, equipment, gameplay, and tickets to a Dodger game. So it's a great partnership, and we're one of 12 cities in LA County to have this partnership with the Dodgers. So we're very lucky. And with that being said, that they're going to offer a virtual Dodger camp for our kids in Hawthorne. And you don't have to be actually previously signed up in the league. This is for all community members at no cost. And with this camp, there's going to be virtual Dodger drills, fitness and nutrition clinics, and coaches training. If anyone's interested in that, please give the office a call at 310-349-1640, and we can inform residents how to enroll in that program. And one thing I was mentioning before I lost my signal, I just confirmed this week with LA Dodgers that they're going to do a great program for service for all our participants that participated in 2019, which was 120 families. And on June 26th, or June 26th, they're going to actually have Uber Eats and a silent donator donate gift food baskets to all the participants from last year. So that's going to be a great event that's going to happen June 26th. We're going to work with Uber and a silent donator to donate food to all those families, and it will be delivered to their doorstep. Next slide, please. This is the plan that is on item 24, Department Reopening Plan. And these are the phases that we actually have come up with. Phase 1, which was last week, we've opened a limited amount of our facilities. Our next step, phase 2, would be July 7th, phase 3, August 3rd, and phase 4 would be the new normal. And as we move to the next slide, you'll see actually what we did open June 1st. Can we see that slide, please, Mike? Okay, so here's what we have open so far. Every item has a creation of social distancing, and you have to have a face mask on all the time. So we have opened our lobby at Memorial Center for light business. Our community garden's open. Our snack program, walking trails, horseshoe pit, sports center parking lot, skate park, fitness zones, tennis court, fitness station, bocce ball courts. If you refer back to item 24, the plan that we have stated for approval, you can actually see those mandates for each item we have on here. If you're going to participate, what rules you would have to follow. Next slide, please. Phase 2, July 7th. Subject to change depending on the county. Social distancing, face covers required at all time. Small building rental groups, futsal courts, splash pad, senior billiard room with those recommendations and mandates below that, senior computer lab with those recommendations below. Next slide, please. Phase 3, gatherings and picnics, outdoor restrooms, outdoor basketball court, our senior sewing room, senior exercise classes, in person, outside most likely, our little league, I think that's a typo actually, we're gonna open them in phase 2, Jim Thorpe Historical Society, Jim Thorpe Castle Preschool. And then phase 4, next slide please, will be the new normal, in-person classes, racquetball, aquatics, special events, playground, youth sports. We're heavily following the lead of LA County Health Department, CDC. What we want to do is create a safe atmosphere for residents to come back. So we're following their lead and not wanting to put the public in any harm's way. We're following their recommendations. We're surveying other cities, and our alignment is very close to what other cities are doing in SPA 8. Next slide. That concludes my presentation. If any questions, I can answer them right now.
Yvonne, it's Mike. I have a question.
Yes.
On the new normal, what do you mean by the new normal?
What I mean in the interpretation that I've received from the county and CDC is when restrictions are lifted, when there's a possibility that we won't have to social distance, if there's a possibility that we don't have to wear face coverings. That would be the new normal in my opinion, and that's what I'm being told.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Yes, I'm trying to raise my hand digitally and I can't do it. It's Olivia.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
I tried. Oh yeah, I did raise my hand. There it is. Okay. So thank you, Vaughn, for this really excellent presentation. And I also want to thank you for the comprehensive report that you gave us at item number 24, the facility reopening plan. It's very comprehensive. You gave great details in diagram form. All of the city facilities that are opening, the proposed reopening date and the protocol for the opening. And I want to thank you for that. It's a very comprehensive effort. And I believe that you and your staff really worked very hard to put this together. So I'd like to ask you to have this posted on the website and made available to the public. And also I would like to ask you to, the presentation you just gave to us, perhaps you could make that into a video to that we could put on the website so that the community could have a snapshot of what they can be expecting in terms of opening.
Yes, absolutely. I'll work with a city manager and work out the details and gather that information and present it to him for approval.
And I also want to thank you for the virtual programs that you've started, the senior virtual exercise classes and the virtual sports and classes. I think that is just so amazing. And, you know, it's important. I think the exercise classes for seniors are extremely important because many of the seniors are not able to get out and need some way of getting exercise. And I think that is just amazing. Who were you able to get to actually do these exercises?
The staff that the volunteers that we have conducting classes, believe it or not, are seniors that's been in the program, and they've taken classes at other cities, and they come back and they're just so happy to share the skill set they have, and we incorporate them into instructors, and they're volunteer based.
It's a really dynamic idea and very beneficial for our seniors, and the virtual sports also. I really think that's amazing. That that this is, you know, that the kids can participate in sports online. That's really wonderful. Thank you for all of that.
Thank you for the appreciation.
To the chair.
Yes, sir.
Oh, hi, Vaughn. Thank you for the presentation. well done. I concur with Ms. Valentine. This is very well, prepared. So say thank you to you and your staff, and with the blessing of Arnie and our assistant city manager, because this is very good plan. Okay. Now, the grab and go lunches and the snacks, you guys gonna continue to do until when?
August 26,
I don't know
2020.
about 26. Okay, so you'll continue to do that until August 26th. And do you anticipate maybe sometime in August to start to rent the Memorial Center to limit number of people, or no?
Oh, absolutely. I think, Chief, can we go back to, if possible, page 9? I think that's phase 3. Maybe one page, phase 2. So phase 2, we have there in the left-hand corner, we have building rental.
Yes.
Building. So that's going to be for our smaller groups. Because what we plan to do, Councilman Montero, is, for example, Kiwanis Club that has 25 to 30 members. We're going to set a new plot plan and give that group the option to move to a different room, limit the participants, or rent an additional room. So it's going to be all based on the size of the group and actually their plan of how they're going to conduct their event. So it's going to be on a case-to-case basis moving forward in phase 2.
All right. So that mean that in August, in September, well, it will be September, so I can return to my Hawthorne President's Council meetings.
Absolutely, that would be considered a small group, and we will make sure that you're following the mandates of CDC and the health department.
Okay. All right. So again, thank you for the presentation, and then I'll be in touch with you for more specific detail for August. So I'll talk to you more about that later. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Vaughn. Appreciate the information. You guys are doing a great job over there, you and your staff. So let everybody know that we're really proud of what they're doing. It's a lot of work that goes into this, and you guys are stepping up to the plate. We're all very happy. Thank you, Vaughn.
Thank you.
All right. We'll go back to the city manager's consent calendar. I'm going to make a motion.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, please, would you, for your approval, for city council approval, let's start with items 20, 21, and 22.
You want to, why don't we just incorporate item 24?
No, I have
Presentation? All right.
No, I have some, I will bring it up with some interlineation.
Got it. I make a motion.
20 through 22, please.
I make the motion.
Second.
Please vote. Roll call.
Okay. Councilmember Awad,
Yes.
Councilmember Montero,
Yes.
Councilmember Taeda,
Yes.
Councilmember Valentine,
Yeah.
Mayor Vargas.
Yes.
The vote reflects mayor and council members voting yes.
Okay, item 23, Mr. City Attorney. Russell has to recuse himself. Is he with us?
Yes, I will recuse myself from item number 23 because it affects my compensation. So I will step down from the virtual dais.
Okay.
Robert, are you there? Mr. Kim?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, item 23
Yes, go ahead.
for your approval is the employment agreement between City Attorney Miyahira and City of Hawthorne for your approval.
We make a motion. I make a motion. Go ahead.
Second by Valentine.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Councilmember Awad,
Yes.
Councilmember Montero,
Yes.
Councilmember Taeda,
Yes.
Councilmember Valentine,
Yes.
Mayor Vargas.
Yes.
The vote reflects mayor and city council voting yes.
Thank you. Item 24 for your approval with two minor interlineations. One of them, the page 5 of the policy under City of Hawthorne vehicles, the statement that 2 employees are required for a task in the field to ride in separate vehicles will be erased, will be deleted. There are occasions that we are responding to emergencies and it is necessary to have 2 employees in 1 truck, which in that case, they are provided with face cover and sanitizers. So that's one interlineation I have in the policy. The other one is that all council members received revised reopening schedule from our Parks and Rec director. So that will replace what you had in your binder, the new revised one that you received. That's all I had to say, those minor revisions for your approval.
Okay, I make a motion.
Second.
Please vote. Roll call.
All right, Councilmember Awad,
Yes.
Councilmember Pinero,
Yes.
Councilmember Taeda,
Yes.
Councilmember Valentine,
Yes.
Mayor Vargas.
Yes.
The vote reflects mayor and city council voting yes.
Okay, so where are we at? All right, so let's go ahead and have city council discussion reports. Well, how about this? Let's move on to set 27 and then we'll end with the city council discussion items. Well, no, we are on city council discussion. I thought that was this. Okay, so go ahead. Councilwoman Valentine.
Thank you. So in 2014, I initiated an outdoor dining ordinance, which was passed by the council. At the time, we were trying to spur restaurants to set up outdoor dining facilities, hoping it would draw increased business, since people like the sense of community that dining outdoors brings to a community. The applicant, under the existing ordinance, has to obtain an encroachment permit and pay a fee for the permit. And I believe there is also a planning fee involved. Tonight, I would like to propose a modification to that ordinance on an emergency basis because of the impact of coronavirus on our restaurants. And that would be that all fees be waived and the process be expedited for restaurants that are eligible that want to have outdoor dining. The waiver would be effective until December 31st, 2020. The announcement would be placed on the website. That would be as far as I have gone, as far as my modification. I wanted to open it up to my colleagues to see if they also wanted to expand the outdoor dining ordinance on a temporary basis, if they had any ideas about expanding it further. But that would be my modification on a temporary basis. And I would like, I'm calling for council approval, but I'm also asking for ideas if there are any additions that someone would like to propose to the expansion.
Councilwoman Valentine, this issue came up in some of the other cities. I mean, I think it's a great idea. Obviously, we want to let people know what's happening along our boulevards to bring, make them more of a destination to Hawthorne Boulevard. But also with the restrictions and the lower density within a restaurant, that's obviously going to restrict the amount of business that restaurants can make. So by instituting this change, I believe that you can have the spillover from, I'm calling it spillover. The people who don't fit inside can actually go sit outside. So a lot of these businesses can meet their goals, their targets when it comes to sales and with regards to sales on the dining and the food that they're able to serve. So I think it's a good idea, and not only in light of COVID-19 that we want them to open, but it's actually a solution for them to get back on track at a bigger level than they thought, and also to bring to make Hawthorne Boulevard a destination city. So those are my 2 cents.
Thank you.
To the chair.
Yes.
I think that the easier that you make it for them to do that, the better that would be, particularly during this time, that maybe they can eliminate having to go to planning to just simply put 2 or 3 tables out in front of the place, and get some nice big umbrellas and change the look of Hawthorne Boulevard. I think that at the end of the day, that would be the goal, is to change the look of Hawthorne Boulevard and allow more outdoor dining. And since we're in a situation right now where we're cutting through a lot of red tape in order to get certain things done, I think I agree with Olivia. I think that that's a wonderful idea. And it's a matter of, getting out of the car, going down there and talking to the owners and say, hey, listen, this is what we'd like to see happen. What do you think? Because there are some restaurants, when we widen the sidewalks, that could be a really nice place to put 3, 4, 5 tables out there. And I know there's a few restaurants that have them in front of Pizza Show. I think you see a couple little tables, but something a little bit more aesthetic with a nice big umbrella and things like that, where people can come and sit and have a cup of coffee. I think that would be a great idea. So the easier that you make that, not make people jump through hoops, and to just take a few tables and put them in the sidewalk and maybe set it up that way. I would be willing to go with Olivia if you want. We can go talk to a few owners and see what they think, but I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
Yes, I agree with you, and I would like to do that. I was going to suggest also that if restaurants wanted to use the space outside, because I've seen some restaurants do it, they in where they have a tight opening for their restaurant. I know that I'm thinking particularly of Little Asia. They have the table in the doorway, and you just walk up to the table and get your food to go. So if the restaurant wanted to, they could use the space outside instead of someone sitting outside. They could use the space to have the to-go orders out on the tables, so people could just walk by and pick them up as they're prepared. So I mean, that would be, they could use the space in any way that would make it convenient for them, but outdoor dining would be our preference, obviously, for the aesthetics.
To the chair.
Yes.
Yeah, I do agree. We support Olivia on the outdoor dining, but also I want to make sure that we do it on a way that is safe, right? Healthy and safety is the priority. Because of the sidewalks, we need to make sure that there is a public way and there is enough sidewalk there that they can put tables and still would not force people to be walking on the streets. Okay, because you can see that sometimes they have a plan that they'll put some tables next to the door and then some tables close to the far end of the sidewalk, and then allow people to walk through the middle. So we have to come up with some type of strategy, a special Arnie. I don't know if maybe we can send some public work or some even code enforcement go look at these restaurants and make sure that we will give them the waiver, but at the same time they have to do it like on a way that will not jeopardize the public way, and do it on a safe way and on a healthy way too.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Yes, we have already established procedures in place. There is ordinances, there are resolutions and permitting process. And that was the fee for public works to measure the areas, to inspect the area for utility poles, for fire hydrants, for other obstructions in the sidewalk, to allow safe ADA accessibility for wheelchairs that by law we have to abide by, that we have to provide minimum 4-foot wide safe passageway is the ADA requirement they have to meet. So the permit fee that Councilmember Valentine referred to was for inspection, measurements, and final approval. So we can waive those, as Councilmember Valentine mentioned, up until December. And also the planning requirement you know, you waived it until this. I mean, you are proposing to waive until December. Otherwise, all of these procedures are already there, except that there is a caveat. Council Member Montero referred to something that is very important. As you know, we receive claims and sometimes frivolous ones for trip and falls.
Yeah.
So this is why, you know, one of the requirements that this city council approved a couple of years ago after we completed Hawthorne Boulevard project was a requirement for insurance that, you know, restaurant owners include City of Hawthorne as additional insured in their policy. You know, their annual insurance policy. And this was one of the requirements because remember, we are talking about public right-of-ways. These are not, this is not Westwood Village. We are not talking about, you know, additional areas in front of restaurants or porches or other areas that are not being utilized by pedestrian traffic. This is public right-of-way that we widen the sidewalk to provide this, you know, room for them. And at the same time, one of the goals there was to reduce crosswalk lengths. Hawthorne Boulevard is very wide boulevard, and by expanding sidewalks, we try to reduce crosswalk length for pedestrians crossing Hawthorne Boulevard. So we were trying to meet two goals at the same time. So therefore, I just want to remind our city council that this is a noble thing to do. By all means, during this COVID-19, you know, economic impact, by all means, we are in favor of relaxing these requirements. However, for liability issues, you know, I still recommend we keep the liability insurance requirement because you are talking about public right-of-way, which means you, City of Hawthorne, is 100% responsible. Anything happens there.
Okay.
Yes, I am not recommending that we waive the insurance. That was not part of the recommendation.
Yes,
Okay.
Thank you, Arnie.
absolutely.
So, Mr. Mayor, can we get a vote on this as to the sentiment of the council? Do we need to get a vote?
Mr. City Attorney, how should we approach this? Mr. City.
Sure, why don't you take a vote?
Okay. Councilwoman, you want to make the motion?
Yes, I move that the outdoor dining ordinance, which is ordinance number 2068, be modified on a temporary basis in light of COVID-19 to waive all fees associated with the process of obtaining an outdoor dining permit, and that this waiver be in effect until December 31st, 2020.
Okay, I second that.
To the chair, I think we should put on that ordinance that except we will waive all the permit fees except the liability insurance.
That's fine.
It should be on that ordinance.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded, and there's no opposition to the changes. Roll call vote, please.
Okay. Councilmember Wad,
Yes.
Councilmember Montero,
Yes.
Councilmember Taeda,
Yes,
Councilmember Valentine,
Yes.
Mayor Vargas.
Yes.
The vote reflects mayor and city council voting yes.
Okay.
I want to, Mr. Mayor, can we request that this announcement be placed on the website right away so that the restaurant owners will know that we've made this change and they can immediately begin to apply for the permit.
If that's your wish, and if there's no opposition, yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I ask for clarification on that thing? It's going to be only on Hawthorne Boulevard or anywhere in the city of Hawthorne?
It will be anywhere that by engineering inspection, a configuration of placing tables is possible. Yeah, you are right. It's Houghton Boulevard mostly because Houghton Boulevard is the only boulevard in our city that has widest sidewalk available for this. However, in different corners of the city, this could be possible in various locations that will be then reviewed and inspected case by case basis.
Okay, so could be done in Inglewood, in Imperial, Rose Grand.
Inglewood Avenue has a very narrow sidewalk. However, they can put outdoor if they want to in some corners or where their parking is next to the restaurant and they would like to utilize that area. Then we can inspect and review and approve.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Arnie.
All right. So I'm moving on to item 29. We'll have elected officials reports at the end. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on the closed session? If not, I'll declare oral communications closed. I will now recess the city council meeting to conduct a closed session for a conference pursuant to the agenda. Council members, we have 2 minutes before we start. 2 minutes. We are in recess.
Coronavirus to someone else. Please visit coronavirus.gov for more information.
New York is the canary in the coal mine. What happens to New York is going to wind up happening in your city and in your community. We are going to fight every way we can to save every life that we can. We are all first responders. Your actions can either save or endanger a life. Job one has to be save lives. That has to be the priority.
We have to stay home.
Not just to protect yourself, but to protect others.
Stay at least 6 feet away from other people. 2, arm's length. Just because you're at home
doesn't mean that we can't be alone together.
Wash your hands. Scrub it while you sing this song. Wash. Rub your hands and fingers and the places in between. Using soap and water makes your hands so clean. Wash your hands. Great job, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now dry.
Wash your hands for 20 seconds, just like Elmo.
How do you protect yourself and others from coronavirus?
Avoid touching your eyes, your nose, and your mouth.
Wash your hands often with soap and water for 20+ seconds.
Clean and disinfect surfaces and objects.
Together, we can help slow the spread.
When you're interacting with others who are not members of your household in both public and private spaces, wear a cloth face covering. Before you put it on, wash your hands or sanitize them. Before you take it off, make sure your hands are clean. And after you take it off, wash your hands again. Wash your cloth face coverings often. Wear a clean one every single day. Learn more at publichealth.lacounty.gov.
Hello, I'm Gloria Gray, President of the West Basin Municipal Water District Board, where we take pride in delivering safe, reliable water to our communities.
According to the CDC, coronavirus is not transmitted through water.
West Basin works diligently to protect the quality and reliability of the water supply. On behalf of the West Basin Board of Directors, we hope you and your family are staying safe and healthy.
For more information, visit westbasin.org.
As the nation's doctor, I often get asked, what should I do if I think I might have coronavirus?
People who are sick should stay home. You don't go to an emergency room, you don't go to a clinic. You get on the phone and you ask for advice and instructions from your physician.
We don't want you to go into the ER or the doctor's office without talking to them first because you might spread coronavirus to someone else. Please visit coronavirus.gov for more information.
York is the canary in the coal mine. What happens to New York is going to wind up happening in your city and in your community. We are going to fight every way we can to save every life that we can. We are all first responders. Your actions can either save or endanger a life. Job one has to be save lives. That has to be the priority.
You have to stay home.
Not just to protect yourself, but to protect others.
Stay at least 6 feet away from other people. 2, arm's length. Just because you're at home
doesn't mean that we can't be alone together.
Together. Yeah.
wash your hands. Scrub them while you sing the song. Wash, washy, wash, washy, wash, wash. Rub your hands and fingers and the places in between. Using soap and water makes your hands so clean. Wash your hands. Great job, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now dry.
Wash your hands for 20 seconds, just like Elmo.
How do you protect yourself and others from coronavirus?
Avoid touching your eyes, your nose, and your mouth.
Wash your hands often with soap and water for 20+ seconds.
Clean and disinfect surfaces and objects.
Together, we can help slow the spread.
When you're interacting with others who are not members of your household in both public and private spaces, wear a cloth face covering. Before you put it on, wash your hands or sanitize them. Before you take it off, make sure your hands are clean. And after you take it off, wash your hands again. Wash your cloth face coverings often. Wear a clean one every single day. Learn more at publichealth.lacounty.gov.
Hello, I'm Gloria Gray, President of the West Basin Municipal Water District Board, where we take pride in delivering safe, reliable water to our communities.
According to the CDC, coronavirus is not transmitted through water.
West Basin works diligently to protect the quality and reliability of the water supply. On behalf of the West Basin Board of Directors, we hope you and your family are staying safe and healthy.
For more information, visit westbasin.org.
To the agenda, Mr. City Attorney.
Yes, the labor negotiator has been instructed.
Okay, thank you. No vote needed, correct?
No.
Okay. We have a second closed session. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this closed session? Do we have any communications, Mr. City Clerk?
No, we do not.
Okay. If not, I'll declare oral communications closed. So ordered. I will now recess the City Council meeting to conduct a closed session for a conference pursuant to the agenda. We're in recess.
New York is the canary in the coal mine. What happens to New York is going to wind up happening in your city and in your community. We are going to fight every way we can to save every life that we can. We are all first responders. Your actions can either save or endanger a life. Job one has to be save lives. That has to be the priority.
We have to stay home.
Not just to protect yourself, but to protect others.
Stay at least 6 feet away from other people. 2, arm's length. Just because you're at home
doesn't mean that we can't be alone together.
Together.
Wash your hands. Scrub them while you sing this song. Wash, wash. Rub your hands and fingers and the places in between. Using soap and water makes your hands so clean. Wash your hands. Great job, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now dry.
Wash your hands for 20 seconds, just like Elmo.
How do you protect yourself and others from coronavirus?
Avoid touching your eyes, your nose, and your mouth.
Wash your hands often with soap and water for 20 plus seconds.
Clean and disinfect surfaces and objects.
Together, we can help slow the spread.
When you're interacting with others who are not members of your household in both public and private spaces, wear a cloth face covering. Before you put it on, wash your hands or sanitize them. Before you take it off, make sure your hands are clean. And after you take it off, wash your hands again. Wash your cloth face coverings often. Wear a clean one every single day. Learn more at publichealth.lacounty.gov.
Hello, I'm Gloria Gray, President of the West Basin Municipal Water District Board, where we take pride in delivering safe, reliable water to our communities.
According to the CDC, coronavirus is not transmitted through water.
West Basin works diligently to protect the quality and reliability of the water supply. On behalf of the West Basin Board of Directors, we hope you and your family are staying safe and healthy.
For more information, visit westbasin.org.
As the nation's doctor, I often get asked, what should I do if I think I might have coronavirus?
People who are sick should stay home. You don't go to an emergency room, you don't go to a clinic. You get on the phone and you ask for advice and instructions from your physician.
We don't want you to go into the ER or the doctor's office without talking to them first because you might spread coronavirus to someone else. Please visit coronavirus.gov for more information.
York is the canary in the coal mine. What happens to New York is going to wind up happening in your city and in your community. We are going to fight every way we can to save every life that we can. We are all first responders. Your actions can either save or endanger a life. Job one has to be save lives. That has to be the priority.
You have to stay home.
Not just to protect yourself, but to protect others.
Stay at least 6 feet away from other people. 2, arm's length. Just because you're at home
doesn't mean that we can't be alone together.
Together.
Wash your hands. Scrub them while you sing this song. Wash, wash. Rub your hands and fingers and the places in between. Using soap and water makes your hands so clean.
The City Council meeting is called to order. We have met in closed session for a conference pursuant to the agenda. Mr. City Attorney?
Yes, the city attorney has been directed.
Thank you so much. Now we turn to elected officials' reports, recommendations. We're going to start off with City Treasurer David Patterson. Mr. City Treasurer?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be brief. Just want to thank the community for doing their best to participate in this process. Those that sent their emails, those that are watching, whether it be recorded or live. I just want to congratulate the community for participating in the process and making their voices heard, whether it be in this council meeting and everybody around the world who may be making their voices heard over the last, few weeks. That's the way that, you get elected officials like us to listen. So I want to congratulate those people. A little bit of news. I got a birthday coming up. My birthday's June 18th.
All right. Happy birthday.
Thank
Happy birthday.
And Juneteenth is celebrated the day after my birthday. Usually we have a pancake breakfast with the Holly Park Homeowners Association. I'm gonna miss that. I want to send some love.
Me too. I'm going to miss it too.
I want to send some love to Darlene Love as well. I always look forward to seeing her during that time. And that's it though. I'll see you guys at the next council meeting.
Thank you so much. We'll move on to our city clerk, Paul Jimenez. Mr. City Clerk.
Thank you. I just have a quick statement to read. So as the city clerk for Hawthorne and a man of color, I would like to briefly address the recent events that have dominated the news. I'm deeply saddened and angered by the injustices, discrimination, and peril that Black community and all communities of color continue to face. COVID-19 has further amplified the gross disparities in health, deep-rooted economic disparities, and racial injustices experienced by communities of color. So we must do better. And I repeat that, we must do better. Many studies have shown that these shocking behaviors by police officers being caught on camera are often not rooted in the individual's behavior, but mainly in racist policies and ideas. The best way to change them is by holding our elected officials accountable, so all of us on this Zoom call, educating ourselves and voting for the change we want to see. I'm relatively new to the Hawthorne community, and overwhelmingly, when I ask people's opinions about our police department, the common response is that our police department is doing a good job. So I thank Chief Ishii and his team for that. They focused on policy change and implemented award-winning community programs to bring the police department and community members together. So again, I thank you, Chief Ishii. I will continue to do my part as your city clerk to create opportunities to ensure that you are informed on how to register to vote and how to get your friends and family to go out and vote. If anyone in our community, including our elected officials, would like to collaborate on initiatives to get our community to vote, please contact me at p.jimenez@cityofhawthorne.org. In addition, I want to show that my colleagues at El Camino College down the street are hosting a series of meetings for men of color to simply be around other men of color, to express how they're feeling, or to simply listen to other men of color about their experiences. I took part in a similar types of meetings at Santa Monica College. We did one last Thursday and we had about 40 men show up. So it was just a good place to be. So the meeting for El Camino is taking place tomorrow and the following Wednesdays at 3 p.m. You do not have to be an El Camino College student to join the session, and we'll provide the information to the meetings via Nextdoor and on Instagram. I hope that as a society, we finally heed the call of hundreds, thousands of peaceful demonstrators for a more tolerant and just society. I pledge to you to use my platform to fight racist policies that create or perpetuate racial inequalities, and to support anti-racist policies that lift up all groups and work to dismantle long-standing inequalities. So I hope you all join me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. City Clerk. We'll move on to Council Member Mike Talleda.
Well, I, like everyone else, I've been kind of riveted to what's been going on in the news lately. And, you know, I think that the police departments are getting kind of a little bit of a raw deal in the way that people are looking at this. I think it's wonderful that people can go out to the street. And we live in a country where you can give your opinion and you can call for a dialogue. And I think that definitely there's a dialogue that's needed to be had. You know, I think that people really need to look at the situation and you know, and deal in reality, deal in facts, deal in statistics. Because I think that in the end, when the statistics, and you can argue about the statistics, but you're going to have to face a statistic sooner or later. We definitely need the police department. I don't see how we could live in a society without the police. I definitely think that there's room for improvement within the police department. I think that guys like that guy that killed that man in Minnesota, you know, he had no business being a cop. And, you know, the cops are hurt about the treatment that they've been getting in the press, and they're not getting the recognition for their contribution to society. I mean, if we didn't have police out there to do the job, and hopefully, and I mean, and to do it right, it would be total chaos. And so to assume that the problem is strictly the police, I think we're wrong there. That's my own personal opinion. I've seen a lot of back and forth, and this morning I saw some cops that were really, really upset about, you know, being all thrown into a category with this guy that killed this man in Minnesota. And, you know, the theme is nobody hates a bad cop more than a good cop. So I think that we have a good police department in Hawthorne. I think we have a great leader, and I think that we have good philosophies in police work. And I think that the training needs to be, you need to have that dialogue and that conversation on both sides, because it's very unclear to me, and I'm a little dense, but what it is that needs to happen. What needs to happen in order to make people satisfied. Because I've heard from both sides quite a bit, and both sides represent people of color, and both sides have a different opinion on the issue. And so, I mean, I'm very proud of our police department, and I think that they're doing a good job, and I think people, it's a tough, they're put into a very tough situation, and it's hard to come out of that smelling like a rose, because you're asking the police to go into a no-win situation. And, but I agree that we can all do better, that they really need to have a serious dialogue. There was a man not too long ago that I saw, African American, and he said that we need to have a conversation, and it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable, but we need to have it. And you're right that we need to have that conversation, and it will be uncomfortable, but it's very necessary. So, I'm glad that this thing is coming to an end. I think there's been a lot of hurt and a lot of damage and a lot of done. And, you see in one respect, you got people at home and businesses that can't open. And in another respect, you've got 50,000 people on the street, so that kind of insanity has to stop. So I look forward to end to that. But no, I think that we should thank our police department for having a very tough job during these times. And that's it for me.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Olivia Valentine.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. So I wanted to speak first about money to cities from the CARES Act. Last week, I attended the Revenue and Taxation Policy Committee of the League of California Cities, and I learned that money, I said the word, money will be coming to cities from the CARES Act that will not be funneled through the county. For the city of Hawthorne, the governor's proposal was $886,925. And the league had pushed for this. I want to thank the League of California Cities for pushing for the direct funding to the cities without having to go through their counties. And it looks like we may get as much as $1,079,263, but at the least end, we're going to get $886,925. It will still be necessary for the city to show that the costs are necessary expenditures due to the public health emergency with respect to the coronavirus 2019, and that those costs were not accounted for in the budget most recently approved as of March 27, 2020, which is the date of the enactment of the CARES Act. And also that the monies were incurred during the period of March 1st, 2020 to December 30th, 2020. And I have already provided our staff with the guidance that we received from the league on how the money can be spent and the frequently asked questions as to how that money can be directed. So hopefully we will be getting the money soon, and hopefully we will be able to find ways. I'm certain that we will be able to find ways to spend it that will be in line with the directives from the federal government. One more thing about the coronavirus issue. Hair salons and barbershops have been allowed to reopen. And the guidelines to be followed are as follows. The county is adopting a slow stage approach supported by the state and public health department to make sure hair salons and barbershops are adhering to the protocols put in place. So they're asking people to adhere to distancing protocols and have protections in place. They're asking for a 6-foot distance apart inside the facility, except when performing services to your client. They're asking that you install physical barriers if you can, such as plexiglass. They're asking that you stagger appointments, try not to have more than 2 clients at a time. They're asking that there be no walk-in clients allowed. They're asking that clients wash their hair before the appointment, and this helps to reduce the time the client is in the business and reduce transmission of the virus, which I thought was a really good idea. They're asking that you verbally screen your clients, ask questions. Are you sick? Has anyone in your household been sick? Have you been exposed to the coronavirus? If the answer is yes to any of these questions, do not proceed with the client. And then they're asking that you clean and sanitize the workstation after every client. So these are guidelines that have been put in place by the county. And I understand that from Mr. City Manager that you are going to have these guidelines placed on the website. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think you're going to have the county guidelines placed on the website. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to briefly respond to something that was said earlier. There are concerning the civil unrest. There are no easy answers to these questions. And people who try to find easy answers usually regret it afterwards. I am not in favor of defunding the police. It would mean less services to communities that need them the most. I am always in favor of improving the service to the police, improving the service to the community. But I've been very happy with our community approach to policing that our police have followed, and the hands-on approach to addressing issues in the community. We have a top-notch police department that serves this community very well. Nobody is perfect, and so I'm certain that if we dig deep, there are things that can be improved, and I would like to, use our resources to find out where improvements can be made and encourage the police to make those improvements, and probably that would be around training. So the problems in the society are massive, and they cannot be solved by making quick decisions and in response to civil disturbances, making the decisions without careful thought and analysis. And I think that's where we have to go now. I think now that people have cooled down, it's time for people who really think about these issues to really work on them and see if we can find a way to all come together, because we are all in this together as a society. But I just want to give my thanks to the Hawthorne Police Department for coming through for the citizens of Hawthorne. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilmember Hadarawad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's see. I want to thank all the residents for coming in today, watching on Zoom. I want to also kind of thank our police department for when we did have 2 rallies in Hawthorne last Friday. Everything was peaceful, and they allowed the protesters to have their moment to express their First Amendment right, especially in front of the police department, which was great. It kind of shows that we're a little bit different compared to some of the other police departments you see. And for the, in the interest of transparency to our residents, it's fair to look at any and all policies of the city. So I'm calling for review of the hiring and training policies of the police department at the next council meeting. Second, I want us to review and implement as appropriate the 8 uses of force policies suggested by the County Board of Supervisors. This is just kind of showing that it's not empty words, like, yes, we should have the discussion, but it's also to show how we're gonna take the step forward to be different. We are becoming more diverse. We do have a strong leader, but it still takes more conversations. It still takes more ideas. It just can't be empty words of support. You've seen this over and over, and people are getting hit left and right, saying that we get it. You say you're behind us, but what are you gonna do? And the 8 suggestions from the county, some of these already our police department follows. It's just a good way for them to be reassured we are following some. If there aren't any that we haven't, and if they're good, we'll move forward on them. But it's just a way to open the door in conversation, to kind of have everyone on the same table, and kind of an offering of peace to kind of bring down some of all the civil unrest. In conjunction with that, I also wanted to thank everyone that came to the peace and prayer vigil we had this past weekend. It was on the same message, kind of like we wanted everyone to sit down, bring these unities together and these groups, and to have the discussion needed to fix all these injustices. So I want to give out a shout out to Senator Ben Allen, Bishop Richardson, Pastor John L. Jefferson, Reverend Jay Fisher, who was one of the main speakers at the Compton rally over the weekend. Charles Ramirez, Bilal Zahain from the Islamic Center, Angie Reyes English, Robert Smith from the Allied Painters Union, Amy Shepard, and for everyone that was on Facebook Live and Zoom, thank you guys for coming in solidarity and bringing some peace during these troubled times. The other last thing that I wanted to kind of bring up, and it's gonna be a touchy subject, is fireworks. And it's always gonna be a tough one. But as long as we show that we're making the commitment to work and try and come up with some ideas, it's not hot air. But I've received numerous complaints about illegal fireworks. I've experienced it this weekend especially. There is even a petition being circulated calling for something to be done about the problem. I think it's in the Holly Glen area or Bodger Park area. That whole region is sending out a petition. The residents should know that it's already illegal to have and use non-safe and sane fireworks. It's already illegal to use safe and sane fireworks on any day other than the 4th of July. The problem is it's an enforcement issue. So what resources do we have to enforce the law? So I'm calling for an ad hoc citizen advisory committee to study the issue, seek input from all the stakeholders, and come up with the recommendation for next year. This way, since they're always out in the field, knowing where these hot spots are and which districts have them, if we're calling the residents to help us, and help PD kind of scope it out and help us find out who's shooting off these illegal fireworks, it makes our job easier than having to kind of go out there and guess where. And so I think that would be a good way to go about it. I thought about banning it instead of 4th of July, but apparently it's already there. We just have to get creative. Just want to thank everyone else for coming out, and that is all.
Thank you, Councilmember Awad. Thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem Alex Monteiro.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let me just quick say that about the firework. Yes, there has been tremendous noise of firework, even right here on Ramona track and Ramona on Broadway, and when the train, so they've been blowing those fireworks like a war zone over here since May. So I do agree we need to come up with some solution about the illegal fireworks, because they're going to Vegas and buy these fireworks and bring in and blew them up. And also I have to give kudos to the police department, because every time those fireworks goes boom, the helicopter goes up to try to identify where those fireworks is coming from. So thank you for that. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to different things. Again, I got an email today saying that as of June 4th, the census, only 58.1% of Hawthorne have filled out those census form, the census questionnaire. So we have to keep asking people, please go online and fill out those 10 questions because it's very important for us to receive federal dollar, not just for schools, but for the police, for the housing. So we need those dollars for special ed kids, for our roads. So we need people to at least, get us above 70%. That will be a great achievement. So census. I want to say thank you to Vaughn again and Arnie and our assistant city manager for bringing the reopen plan for the Memorial Center and the park. So it's something that we look forward, and we know people are tired of being home and they want to be able to do some stuff. And I love those virtual classrooms and exercise and basketball. Everybody's going to be excited to see that. So it's good to begin to tell people that we are going to open, but on a safe way and on a healthy way. Just to address a little bit of one of the public comment about that Jesse Ramirez and Ana Cueva about the homeless thing, just for them to know that the Project Key, for example, do have a motel in Lawndale that did accept some homeless families and individuals during this COVID-19. So it was not just Long Beach and Harbor City. So Lawndale, actually, one of the motel there did have an agreement with LAHSA, the Los Angeles County homeless, to get about 90 families and individuals at that motel right here in Lawndale. So they didn't need to go all the way to Long Beach. This afternoon, I was driving by 118 and Broadway and Ramona, right down Robert F. Kennedy, and I saw one of our employees from the graffiti removal. He was removing a graffiti remover from one of the signs of Bill Hassan's foundation. Are we allowed, or we are, using public resource to remove graffiti from a private billboard or signs? Russell? You mute.
Councilmember Montero.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem, no, of course not. We cannot use public funds to clean private properties. However, I think that graffiti worker was under just a broad instruction from his crew leader for cleaning, signs and walls. Yes, they do clean walls and signs. However, he was probably just cleaning somebody else's property without knowing. And he was just, his job is to remove graffiti and give a clean appearance to city, to city right-of-ways. It wasn't under the, or with the intention to use public funds for private owners. Yeah. So that was on 118th and Ramona, and where was the sign?
Well, it's Ramona and 118, right there on Robert F. Kennedy on the corner.
I see. Yeah.
Where Bill Hassan have his office, have those Bill Hassan's foundation supporting the community.
Right.
So I was kind of like, what? But I know he was doing his job, because I know, we want our cities to be clean of graffiti. So
yeah, they clean all the exteriors of the walls that are facing public right of way.
Okay, that's good. And I want to thank Ms. Valentine for representing us on the League of the Cities, because get the money from us direct from the state is very good instead of going to the third party. So thank you very much for that $886,000 that might come to us. So continue to advocate for more money, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, appreciate that. Okay, just for the public notice that I received 2 emails regarding what's going on with these protesters, and also requests about for us to make some changes in the police department. One of the email came from Jason Gromsky, advocating for the those 8 policies, the Campaign 08 policies. And also I received a letter from Stephen Snordland. He is the vice president of the Holly Glen Homeowner Association, also talking about the events, and also about us to see that if we can create some type of policy basis on the Campaign 0 and on those 8 techniques. So let me just give you a little bit of my piece about what's going on. So as we reflect, basically on the last week of May, it went in the history where we experienced tragedy and triumph, right? Where more than 100,000 Americans have died due to the COVID-19. The spectacular launch of the Dragon capsule, where American returned to space in a private rocket, built by SpaceX right here in our town, in Hawthorne, and by the death of George Floyd in the hands of the police officer. Yes, it could have been a week to remembrance our heroes, because it was Memorial Day weekend, to celebrate life as we mourn our loved ones who perished in this pandemic, and at the same time, perhaps a beacon of hope to return to glory as we launch the Dragon capsule to the International Space Station. But instead, we were in the mix of violent chaos and fight for justice and equality. I want to say that I want to thank our community, thank the Hawthorne Police Department for all the work that they have built for these past years to build our relationship, police department, the community policing, and the coffee with the cop, and for the chief and the other police officers go around to the community, to the homeowner association, talk to them, to build relationship, and that pay off tremendously, because we didn't see all those violence, looting, and chaos that was on our television and living room every night across this nation. So we have to say thank you to our police department, and thank you for our community for trust our police and trust our leadership, that they have seen that we are here to protect them. Public safety is #1 issue in the city of Hawthorne. We need to continue to protect our citizens. At the same time, we need to ask the police to do it with distinction, to do it on a safe way, to do it on the way that we be proud of them. And now our citizens will continue to support them, because we know the latest statistic, about 70% of the population of Hawthorne does support our police department. So we have a good department, but yes, there is room for improvement. Like Mike said, like all of you have said, we need improvement. And I will ask the chief, maybe sometime in the future, near future, can tell us what he thinks about this Campaign 0 and those 8 techniques that they want to restructure or revisit. And maybe he can give us his own opinion, and even with the police unions, to come with a plan how they will address this issue that has been put on spotlight all across this nation, because we know there is a systematic problem, that racism and treatment of African American and browns and blacks differently from other police departments. I'm not saying it's ours, but across this nation, we have seen how a lot of people have suffered injustice. And like Mike said, the police right now is on the spotlight, but it's not just the police issue. It's all of us issue. We need to come together as citizens, as politicians, as residents, bring everybody together to say how we're going to make our police department, our public safety work better for us, to make sure that our children, especially the African American and the Black children, will not be afraid of the police, because the police are there to protect them. They're not there to go out and destroy or even kill. They're there to protect. And they swore a warn to the public that they will protect and make sure that we are safe in our city, in our homes, in our schools, in our churches, because we see, what happened. If there was no gun in the United States and the cities, we see this mass shooting. And that's what I continue to advocate, people, yes, they go about the Second Amendment, but if there was no guns on the street, maybe the police didn't need no guns, but they have to have their guns because they have to protect themselves and they have to protect us. Because we know we do not have a free society that there is no crime. There is crime. There is domestic violence. There is child abuse. So the police are there to make sure that citizens are safe. And I believe that our Hawthorne PD have done an outstanding job, because even when I go around to the community, to the neighborhood association, I see the chief, I see the other office going there, talking to them. Our parks are being safe than ever. Crimes are down. So we are doing an outstanding job, and I want to continue to support our police department because they are the protector. And we have to have a public safety is our number one priority in the city of Hawthorne. So God bless all of you. Like I said, all of us have to ask for forgiveness because, we're not perfect. Humanity is not perfect. But violence and chaos is not the answer. Dialogue and come up with solutions that we will survive, and peace will remain in this great nation, this great city of Hawthorne. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Are there any go backs from anybody? Okay. So this question, I have a question and concern from one of the areas within the city of Hawthorne. The residents that live around RFK have sent continuous complaints with regards to the cars that are parked. It's a parking lot within the RFK facility. Mr. City Attorney or Mr. Shadber, is this a permitted use? Is there a code violation here? We've already had enough time to look into this.
We'll give you a report. The code enforcement officer has given us a report, and we'll provide that to the city council.
Can you give me a hint as to, can you tell us at least, is he allowed? Can we just put that to rest here, or are there
I'll do a legal
issues that we need to talk about?
I'll do a legal confidential.
You prefer to do that? Okay, so let's just put this issue to rest as soon as possible. The residents are very frustrated with that situation. And they feel that the owner of the RFK building is not a good neighbor. So let's just figure out if he's allowed to do that, please. Okay? Thank you. So I also wanted to address the recent occurrences that we've had here in the city of Hawthorne. And we all sat in front of our television sets. We all watched on our smartphones. And we witnessed what was the purposeful killing of George Floyd at the hands of a Minneapolis police officer. It was both painful and repulsive for me, for all of us, as we watched him beg for his life, while the Minneapolis police officer ignored his pleas and continued to kneel on his neck, resulting in his eventual death, killing him. The other officers didn't do anything to stop this, so I joined. All the protesters are there. My city council joins all the protesters out there. The city, we all demand justice in the case, because no one should ever have to experience this again. Nobody should ever lose their life in this manner. The Hawthorne community, along with the rest of the country, has been very deeply affected by George Floyd's death. This has led to protests nationwide, even here in Hawthorne. And I'm very proud of the protesters who have demonstrated here in the city of Hawthorne, as each protest has been peaceful and lawful, and have not detracted from the issue at hand, which is justice for George Floyd. I've also been in constant communication with the Hawthorne Police Department and the Chief of Police, Mike Ishii. Our entire police department was fully deployed. They were protecting us. They were surveying the city, making sure that everything was under control. And there was no major looting, and there was no major incidents for the community. They also communicated through Nextdoor as we became aware of situations to the community. So they let everybody know what was going on, so that people wouldn't worry and know that they're feeling protected. The Hawthorne Police Department has prided itself on pioneering and implementing programs to increase understanding and partnerships between our community and the police. And we will continue to prioritize these programs even more in the future. What happened in Minneapolis is not indicative of policing here in the city of Hawthorne. The Hawthorne Police Department is reviewing its policies to ensure that they reflect the concerns raised by the community, not just here, but across the country. I personally want to commend all my city council member colleagues and our elected officials within the city of Hawthorne for doing their part to be able to reach out to the community, to be able to receive communications, to letting people know with regards to COVID-19 and now with this situation, that everything's going to be okay, that we feel their pain, that we feel their frustration, and that we join them in seeking justice for Mr. George Floyd. And that we also want to ensure that we have a safe future where we're all safe and not subject to such type of treatment. So I want to congratulate my city council. It's not just one person, it's all of us working together to communicate, to pass on information. So I want to thank our city treasurer, David Patterson, for what he's doing, our city clerk, Paul Jimenez, for what he's doing as well. I want to thank Councilwoman Olivia Valentine for communicating with the public, Councilmember Mike Dayeda as well for his efforts, Councilmember Hadar Awad for what he does for our community and letting people know what's going on, Mayor Pro Tem Alex Montero for letting people know, always receiving communications and passing things on to our city staff, so that we can all make sure that we all are consistent with the issue, with our motto that we're the city of good neighbors and that we're all looking out for each other. So it's a very emotional time where a lot of things have bunched up on us. The COVID-19, the killing of Mr. George Floyd, the riots that have occurred, unemployment because of all the situation, such strain and stress in our community. But we're all gonna pull through and we're all gonna make it through this difficult time. You have your city council support, your city support, you have your police department support as well, and your fire department support, and everybody's support. So let's just continue to help each other and look out for each other. So if there's no further comments, I'm going to declare the meeting closed. So ordered. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.